And Pakatan Harapan has secured a win in Muar, Johor. Let's bring up those numbers here. It's a three-cornered fight here in Muar. Syed Saddiq there, 29 years old, retaining his seat, 29% there. And he's up against Abdullah Hussein from Perikatan Nasional with 27%, and Muhammad Helmi Abdul Latif with 21.2%, and that is from Barisan Nasional. Now remember that Syed Saddiq is the incumbent. In the last results, he won 53% of the vote, and this time around, he got 29% of the vote. So Francis and Serena, this is a very interesting situation here, because the last time, in the last election, he won a bigger margin, which is 53. Now he's got 29%. He's relatively young. He's been using social media to get the message out. Does that actually then translate to votes for him in this instance?
So, I mean, we know that he's one of Malaysia's most popular, visible politicians, and he is very, very accomplished when it comes to engaging with voters. But the thing is, of course, that is a national, and actually he even has followers in Indonesia. But the Indonesians and people outside his constituency don't vote for him. So what I think we're actually seeing here, and I draw your attention to the fact that the second place candidate is actually from Perikatan Nasional. So what we're beginning to see here very clearly is you actually have three coalitions contesting in Malay majority seats. And the fact that they've put an elder gentleman there is a contrast. He's going for the elder voters as well as the more religious ones. And actually there is a pocket of support for PAS in and around the Muar area. So that is actually why they've chosen to place a PAS candidate as opposed to a Bersatu candidate there. So I think this is reflective of many of the races that we're going to see, quite evenly split in the Malay majority seats. But
then let's look at that, because Barisan Nasional has also changed the candidate for the Muar seat, and in fact they've put a younger individual there. I mean, relatively younger to the previous one. So it didn't pay off for them in this instance. So perhaps they should have kept to their traditional of usually putting an older gentleman in these seats here.
It could be, but I think it just speaks to the fact that now when we look at Malay majority seats, which is new, we have many more candidates competing for that vote share than in the past. Before, you used to see that level of competition in mixed seats, larger urban seats. This is a new development where we're seeing this level of competition for the Malay vote.
And Serena, the margin of Saddiq's victory is also rather slim. I mean, there's a three-way fight, and they were all in their 20+%. That also tells a story to the fact that this vote for the Malay vote is being very split.
Yeah, it's actually quite tight. So the assumption really, if you don't know the details of how the state broke down and how there's this PAS party there, I think the assumption amongst Pakatan Harapan was that this would be a landslide win for Syed Saddiq because he's done so much for the community. And their idea of done so much is, you know, he gave out a lot of tabs, he's always present, he has that TikTok popularity because he's young. He's got a huge middle-aged female base.
The anti-vote, is that what
yes,
he's got?
He's got the anti-vote. Sorry. But,
some of the younger women as well.
Yes. But, you know, when it comes down to the crunch, I think there are many who also see him as a young upstart.
Yeah.
You know, and they find that he's got this KL vibe, even though he keeps saying he's from the ground and all of that, where he speaks a language that a lot of local people don't understand.
Nonetheless, he's been able to win elections, and interestingly, when you look at the Pago result and you look at Razali Ibrahim from BN, he lost to Syed Saddiq years ago. You know, he went out into the political wilderness for quite some time because of that young man. You know, now when you look at Pago and you look at this result for Muhyiddin Yassin, it's huge. But was he ever really in danger of losing this seat? But Francis, maybe you could.
So I think several things really helped him. The first is that he is associated with that seat, and he has been since 1978. And when you tour around the constituency, the mosques, the stadium, the industrial park, and actually there's even a huge education city in his constituency where you've got 4 branch campuses of universities and polytechnics in a very rural constituency. And this has brought in lots and lots of jobs and development. So really, I think you can see here that when people think about development in Pago, they think about him as a person as opposed to a party.